The safety and prosperity that exists almost uniquely in Western countries is an irresistible magnet. These blessings, though, are not the accidents of history, but the product of values painstakingly discerned and refined, and of practices carefully cultivated and reinforced over hundreds of years. Implicitly or explicitly, the imperative to love your neighbour as you love yourself is at the heart of every Western polity. It expresses itself in laws protecting workers, in strong social security safety nets, and in the readiness to take in refugees. It's what makes us decent and humane countries as well as prosperous ones. But right now, this wholesome instinct is leading much of Europe into catastrophic error. All countries that say anyone who gets here can stay here are now in peril, given the scale of the population movements that are starting to be seen. There are tens, perhaps hundreds of millions of people living in poverty and danger who might readily seek to enter a Western country if the opportunity is there. And who could blame them? Yet no country or continent can open its borders to all comers without fundamentally weakening itself. And this is the risk that the countries of Europe now run through misguided altruism. Now, on a somewhat smaller scale, Australia has faced the same predicament and overcome it. The first wave of illegal arrivals to Australia peaked at 4,000 people a year back in 2001, before the Howard government first stopped the boats by processing illegal arrivals offshore, by denying them permanent residence, and in a handful of cases by turning illegal immigrant boats back to Indonesia. The second wave of illegal boat people was running at the rate of 50,000 a year and rising fast by July 2013, when the Rudd government belatedly reversed its opposition to offshore processing, and then my government started turning boats around, even using orange lifeboats when people smugglers deliberately scuttled their vessels. I'm pleased to say that it's now 18 months since a single illegal boat has made it to Australia. The immigration detention centres have all but closed. Budget costs peaking at $4 billion a year have ended. And best of all, there are no more deaths at sea. That's why stopping the boats and restoring border security is the only truly compassionate thing to do. And because Australia once more has secure borders, and because it's the Australian government rather than people smugglers that now controls our refugee intake, there was actually massive public support for my government's decision just last month to resettle 12,000 members of persecuted minorities from the Syrian conflict, which per capita is the biggest resettlement contribution that any country has made. Now, while Prime Minister, I was loath to give public advice to other countries whose situations are different. But because people smuggling is a global